Okay, now we're gonna do GPIO pins on Raspberry Pi. So before we start the Scratch program, let's set up the breadboard and the LED first. This time we'll use GPIO pins as the output. So you see that there are some pins, so let me remove them first. So there are some pins on this side. So those are called the GPIO pins. You can use them as input or output to interact with the Scratch animation. So, but this time we strictly use it as an output. So we will use them to turn on or light up some of the LEDs. So this time we will need to use a breadboard. So this is a small breadboard that you have. So you can see the label on that. So from A on this side, you may not be able to see it very clearly in the webcam. So, and then J on this side, and then row 1 to row 30 at the bottom. So, and you see the positive, negative, positive, negative. So if you forgot how the breadboard works, go back to your notes to see which holes are connected and which holes are not. So first of all, we need to set up the breadboard. So for the LED, so if you remember, if you have an LED, so for example, we'll use a better one. So how about the red one? So you see that it's an LED. So it's one leg longer than the other one. So the longer leg, so this time is this one over here is longer. So this is the positive side, and the other one is the negative side. So the shorter one is the negative side. So what happened is we usually put it in between the gap, because the gap at the middle, okay, the gap at the middle is not connected. So we will need the current to pass through. So we will, for example, use the longer leg on one side. So this time I use row, for example, row 10. Okay, just like this. So row 10, the longer leg on the left side, this way. Okay, and the shorter leg on the right side. So, and then what we need is you need a resistor to protect the LED so that no excessive current can pass through. So on the right side of row 10, so we will connect it to a resistor and then connect to the blue column, which is the ground. We'll connect later. So from row 10 on the right side, connect to the blue, the last column. So then we will connect, later we will connect the whole column to the ground of the Raspberry Pi. So now we have the LED and the resistor. So we will need to connect it to the ground. So to connect to the ground, so we can use the last column to represent ground. So here we use a jumper wire. So there are different types. So you'll be provided different type. So this time, use the male and female one. So the male one go to the breadboard, okay? And the other side should be the female side. And then it goes to the board. So if you forget which pins is there, so look back to your notes on page 14. There's a pin layout of the Raspberry Pi. So it go from the direction of, this is the top one and this is the bottom one, if you look at the diagram. So because the USBs are at the bottom on the diagram. So if you look at the pin layout, so the ground, there are a few of them, so you can use any one of them. So this time we use the third one down on the right. So 1, 2, and 3. So this one is the ground. So use the outer column, the third one down. I may not be able to see very clearly. So then we will have the whole row of negative on the last column. So then we need to decide which pin we will use to light up the LED. So for example, this time based on the diagram, we can choose any of the GPIO pins. So this time we choose the GPIO 2 which is the second one down on the left column. So if we look at the second one, so which is this one. So second one down on the left. And then this time, this one will go directly to row 10 of the breadboard. Okay. So now you have the GPIO pins, the yellow one, GPIO2, go to row 10, and then connect it to the positive side of the LED, and then go through the LED, and then go to the right side of row 10, and then go to the resistor. And the resistor will go to the ground column. And the ground column is connected to the ground of the Raspberry Pi. So when current pass through, you go from the GPIO pin and go through the LED to light it up, and then go through the resistor and then back to the ground. So then it's a complete circuit. So then now we can look at the scratch now. So in the scratch, you need to add the GPIO extension. So you can go just add extension and then add your GPIO. So once you add it, then you have the blocks that you need. So it's very simple. So based on which pins you want. So for example, this time I choose it to high. So this is my GPIO pin 2. So let's see. You might not be able to see very clearly, but it's on now. So T is better. Okay, now it's on. You can see it, it's on. So if I turn it to off, then turn off, right? So again, turn it back on, turn it to high, and then turn it back to off. Okay, so here is how to light up one LED. So in your exercise, you need to build a traffic light. So you need the red one, the yellow one, and also the green one. So connect them so that it lines up like a traffic light. So just like this one. So we may want to just hook it up like this, and the yellow one and also the green one. So make sure you connect the correct direction. So positive, the positive side will go to GPIO pin. So you will need 3 of the GPIO pins. So you can pick any number. So maybe GPIO 2, 3, and 4, or 17, 27, 22, or 10, 9, 11, or any numbers that you want. And on the other side, make sure you connect some resistor and then connect to the common ground. Okay, so then write your program. So in the scratch, you will need to use some delay so that it will have the pattern of the traffic light. So you can start your exercise and then we will look at another one later.